All right, I'll go ahead and start. So, welcome everybody to Softwave Therapy, Columbia's presentation on neuropathy and kind of how Softwave can help with neuropathy. If you hear some knocking on our roof, it's because we're getting a new roof, and I did not know they were going to be here tonight, but we're going to have some fun. So, if you can, bear with me. So, kind of wanted to talk a little bit tonight about the 4 types of peripheral neuropathy. Maybe you might relate to one of them. The first one is motor neuropathy. That is damage to the nerves that control your muscles and movements in the body, right? So, such as moving your hands or arms or talking. Another type, so that's motor neuropathy. There's sensory neuropathy. That's when your sensory nerves control what you feel, such as pain, temperature, light, or touch, and they get affected by nerve damage. And so then it's sensory that's affected. The third one is autonomic nerve neuropathy. So your autonomic nerves control functions that you're not conscious of. They're automatic, so to say. And so that's such as breathing and heartbeat. And so damage to those nerves are extremely serious. Softwave does not help with autonomic nerve neuropathy. And then there's combination neuropathies. So kind of a mixture of any of those 3. It could be 2, it could be all 3. Such as sensory motor neuropathy. So most people, though, that struggle with sensory neuropathy is kind of what we're going to talk about tonight, because that's what Softwave therapy helps with the most, is usually due to blood sugar regulation, poor blood sugar regulation. And so we'll kind of talk later on after our presentation of what Softwave is, how that can help. At the end of the day, poor blood sugar regulation got you here. Softwave is going to help regenerate tissue, but if you don't change anything afterwards, you'll lead back to where you started. So, want to make that clear, but I'll go ahead and I'm going to share my screen. Just a moment. And we'll get cooking. Oh man, they're pounding the roof. All right, here we are. So we'll go ahead and max this up and minimize that. And I'll go ahead and hit present and let's do full screen. There we go. All right, so shocking news. Softwave therapy will change your life. Let's get my face on there. And so you can read that in the top left corner. No one should have to settle for living in pain or with a chronic injury. That's why we exist. All right. We truly believe health, the number one reason for health, which we would define as function or homeostasis or balance, is so that you can be available to others. Be available to others and probably enjoy life a little more. So my name's Derek. If you've never heard me, I'm one of the Softwave therapists here. There's our face right up in there. And I'm just all over with this thing. Let me move that. So I help run Softwave. I was trained by Dr. Maxwell. He's up in the corner over here. And then I also was healed with Softwave therapy. Softwave helped me heal myself, as I always say. I'll kind of share that story a little later. But there's 3 objectives that I want to cover today. The first one, by the end, I want everyone to be able to explain what Softwave is, how it works. 2, I want you to differentiate between our type of shockwave therapy and the other type of shockwave therapies. And 3 is understand the benefits of Softwave and identify who in your life might need it. And so here's a couple good questions I often hear. Cannot seem to find a good one that I like. So I'm just going to take my face out of this. Here's a couple good questions I like to hear. What is Softwave therapy? What does treatment look like? How does it work? Who made it? When was it made? What can it do for me? I think those are all really good questions. What's a great question, right? So these are good. They're decent. When people ask me this, I'm not impressed. You know what a great question is? Does it work? Right? Nobody cares about what it is. What does it look like? How it works? Who made it? When was it made? What can it do if it does not work? And so the answer is a resounding yes. 70 to 96% successful in what it says to do, and that is help regenerate tissue, decrease pain, and improve mobility. And so surgery would offer that same reason or motive, but they are only up to 85% successful. So let's go on. What is Softwave therapy? It is good. We should probably answer the good questions, right? They're still good. So Softwave is a tissue regenerative therapy that activates your immune system to repair soft tissue. When was it made? Well, actually, shockwave therapies first started in 1950, which is hard to believe. And then in 2004, our technology, Softwave specifically, it had evolved all the way up until 2004. And so how does it work, right? There's three components. There's the physical, chemical, and biological. Physical, essentially, is when the sound wave hits you. Chemical is your body responds to the sound wave. And then biological, your body is now responding. There's a biochemical reaction in your body as it's responding to protect yourself. And so you'll see angiogenesis, inflammatory modulation, stimulation of tissue regeneration. All those big fancy words means you get new blood vessels, your pain decreases, and your tissue is going to feel better because it's regenerating. And so this is actually, if you're a patient, you've ever seen this, this is kind of the tip of the applicator head. There's an electrode, the spark happens, and then the sound wave actually comes out at 3,550 miles an hour. So fun fact, what's treatment like? Man, that's a great question.
How you doing? Good. It's even better.
Right. So that is a little bit of what treatment looks like. You come in, we'll do a evaluation, consultation, and a treatment on you, and we're just going to try and help you make you feel even better, right? So what are the benefits? This is what doctors like to look at, and this is what we like to look at, right? Everybody that's not a doctor. So the benefits are it modulates inflammation, it increases blood supply, it's stimulating and activating your stem cells, it repairs and regenerates tissue, and it reduces acute and chronic pain. And you'll see that in that order. It usually occurs in that order, right? It's going to help decrease inflammation because if you've ever come in, you'll hear about how it helps shear oxidative stress from your cells so your cells can actually breathe. It's actually causing your body to increase blood supply through that angiogenesis. It's stimulating and activating the stem cells by activating those exosomes from tissue, and those stem cells that can help, they're like the missing puzzle piece, right? They bridge the gap. That's what repairs and regenerates tissue. And when your tissue moves the way it's supposed to, yeah, your pain's going to kind of melt away. So who can be treated? Well, just about everybody with soft tissue pain. So anyone from surgery, chronic acute injuries, active seniors that just want to improve painless movement, and a lot of athletes will come to us as well.
Right.
This is Nick Best.
What is this in there? This feels like a big deal. This feels awesome. A lot better. That's very cool. Super cool. It hurts a lot. Not hurting is good. Yeah, not hurting is very good.
Yeah, not hurting is good, right? Duh. So Nick Best, he's one of the pro strongmen we've gotten to work with, and he squatted 660 pounds in one day, and or 10 times actually, and he's 55 years old, and afterwards his hips were hurting for some reason, and so we got to do some treatment on him, and immediately pain went away like crazy. That's kind of a cool testimony. So what makes us different from other shockwave therapies? You will get told a lot about all these different types of shockwave therapies and how they'll help, especially with neuropathy. People often offer a lot of different waves, and so it's also confusing because there's so many names for them, right? But I'm here to give you a breath of fresh air. There are only 3 true shockwaves. So if anyone talks about their shockwave and it doesn't involve these 2 categories, tell them, stop lying to me. So Softwave is in this realm. It's electrohydraulic, so it involves water, right? And so notice the 2 categories. There's high intensity, low intensity. So that has to do with intensity, or it has to do with being focused or unfocused, right? So notice these two are focused. These two are low intensity. What you will see is that electrohydraulic, oh, it's not on that slide, but we are the only ones that are low intensity and unfocused. You'll also see that we're the only unfocused shockwave on the market. And so what do those words mean? What does low intensity and unfocused mean? So when it comes to intensity or focused, it's talking about the depth of penetration and surface area that you're working on, right? And so focused goes about that deep, that wide, and unfocused, we are covering more surface area. Intensity, if something was high intensity, you'd probably have to be under anesthesia for it. With ours, you do not. So we're low intensity, I don't have to knock you out, and we cover more surface area and we go deeper into tissue. And so here's 3 reasons people love soft wave therapy. 1, it's non-invasive, right? I'm not going to cut you open to work on your nerves, neuropathy. I'm not trying to fix any blood vessels. I don't have to cut you open. I don't have to give you any shots. There's no downtime. I actually encourage you to, not everyone has to look like this guy squatting. But man, motion is lotion, movement is medicine. And then it is 2 to 4 times cheaper than stem cell injections, right? And so what do we treat? Well, we treat quite a bit. This is a severe case of neuropathy. I think people would probably enjoy that image. That person could not feel anything when they came in. And then by the end, they walked away with no pain, no tingling, which some of you are trying to escape. And they had full range of motion again. So story of my life, limited ROM equals limited ROL, range of motion and range of life, right? If you have limited range of motion, you will have limited range of life. If you cannot do the things you love, what are you doing, right? So if I can't hold my grandkid one day, it's, oh man, if I can't pick myself up, I'm just going to lie on the ground all day. And so I was on the track team at the University of Missouri. I threw hammer. I found Softwave because I tore like every muscle in my shoulder doing a heavy Olympic weightlifting movement called a snatch. And I had 275 pounds over my head, and I dipped my head too far forward, and my left shoulder kind of gave, and it just was like Velcro, and it just kind of ripped as the bar fell down behind me. And I never did surgery. I did physical therapy and functional movement for 2 years, and I had gotten most of my range of motion back, and I could still do some movements. I could still compete for the team. I was always in pain, and so ended up never doing surgery, but I was just like trying out all these different therapies and stuff, and ended up finding Dr. Maxwell. He's the director of this treatment of Softwave therapy, Columbia, and he kind of showed me the machine. We got to do a first visit, and I walked away, and I was kind of sore afterwards, which is unusual. Usually people feel a little better, but that was the first night in 2 years I slept with no pain. And I came back. I was like, you got me. You sold me. I feel amazing. I want to keep doing this. It lasted 2 days, but did all treatments, and now I have full range of motion. I have no pain, and I'm doing functional movement again, so I don't hurt myself again. But that's kind of how I fell into Softwave, and now I work here, and I won't stop telling people about it. So here's our timeline. In case you are wondering, you will come to us injured. We're going to do Softwave, and we're going to help you help yourself by helping your body connect, regenerate tissue. Along the way, we want to help install habits of health and strength exercises to reduce risk of future injury. And then after 8 to 12 weeks, you're feeling awesome, and I should never see you again unless you're at the grocery store or something, right? So now the final question is, man, who in your life needs Softwave? Everyone has soft tissue that gets damaged, and everyone wants to increase their health span. Your health span is the amount of time in your lifespan that is spent in health. It is spent in balance. It is spent in function, right? You're able to do the things you love. That's what health is ultimately trying to get towards. Can you do the things you love? And if something's preventing that, if something in your life, in your body, in health is preventing you from that, then I wouldn't call you healthy. So we want to increase your health span. And I think Softwave, it's not the key to everything, right? Softwave doesn't do what PT can't do, and PT does what this cannot do, And so Softwave is going to regenerate tissue in a way that physical therapy never can, functional movement never can. But man, when you put them together, it's power. So that's why it's not, this isn't the magic pill, people, but it is an integral part that you won't get anywhere else. So it's the end of our presentation. I hope you're able to explain what Softwave therapy is and how it works. And I'm just going to cover that really quick. So Softwave therapy uses sound waves, and it basically will hit every tissue that you're working on. And it helps in two ways. It helps in short term, and then it helps in long term. The short term way that it helps heal is it's helping remove oxidative stress from your cells. So everybody has a cell membrane, and often your cell membrane will get clogged with oxidative stress. It's like rust on a car, and it's due to poor diet or acute/chronic injury. And it kind of wears down on our cell membrane, and it actually clogs them. And so nutrients can't get in and waste can't get out. Well, over time, it kind of swells up and it gets super, what we would call, inflamed. And so the sound wave, when we put it on and it's clicking like crazy, it's actually shearing that oxidative stress off of your cell membrane so that your cells can breathe. And so it kind of, and so that's why people feel immediate relief right after treatment, but that's not why people do Softwave. People do Softwave for the long-term benefit. So short-term lasts about 2 days, long-term lasts a lifetime. And so how that's helping how it helps regenerate tissue is it's helping tap into your innate immune system. It's turning on toll-like receptor 3. It's helping recruit endogenous stem cells from your bone marrow, and it's helping improve blood flow to the area because it's creating new blood vessels. How it recruits the stem cells, the tissue regenerative cells, is every time the sound wave hits your soft tissue, it contracts it in such a way that your tissue releases these messenger cells called exosomes. And those exosomes go tell your brain, we just got injured and we need to respond and heal ourselves and protect ourselves. And so your brain then initiates stem cell migration to that area, endogenous stem cells to that area. That process takes about 8 to 12 weeks. And so Softwave is essentially simulating an injury because exosomes are only released on point of impact in that way to stimulate soft stem cell recruitment. And so if I wanted to use stem cells in my hand, all I have to do is simply whack my hand against a wall, over and over again, but that's never helpful because I'm damaging other tissue. And so Softwave, it simulates an injury without damaging any tissue. It's tricking your brain into sending stem cells there. So that's probably the dumbest way I could explain how it helps long-term. Point number 2 in our objectives, Softwave is different in that it's unfocused. It's covering wider and deeper tissue, and it's low intensity. So it still hurts, but it does not, I don't have to put you under anesthesia. So unfocused, low intensity. And then third, understand the benefits of Softwave and identify who needs it in your life. I'm going to leave that to you. If you're living in pain, if you suffer from neuropathy specifically, and you've tried all these different diets and you've tried all these different therapies and they're not really working for you, and you put a heating pad on every night and you just can't feel any better, Softwave helps regenerate those nerves and those blood vessels that have been damaged over time. And so, man, we have so many cool stories. Let me see if, yeah, that's the last slide. I'll go ahead and stop the share and just get back to me. Man, Softwave, how do I get my face just to pop out? That is one of my favorite stories of one of our neuropathy patients is his name. Actually, I won't share his name. Ha! Yeah, I think he said he didn't want to share his name. But he came in and, was kind of wobbling, couldn't really feel much on his feet at all. Felt like he was walking on glass. And he said, "Hey, son, you're my last hope." And I said, "All right, sir, let's go ahead." And so started doing some treatments. 4 weeks in, he came in and he started crying. And he gave me a hug. And I was like, "Oh, gosh, what happened?" And he said, "I felt my dog lick my shin today." And I said, "Oh, very cool." And he goes and he kind of told me the whole story. He's sitting there and he's reading a book and dog starts licking his shin. And he's like, "Stop it, stop. Honey, get in here." And his wife runs in. "What happened? What happened?" And he just starts crying. "I felt the dog lick my shin. I haven't felt that in 10 years, he said. And so he did all 8 treatments by the end. He said he could walk upstairs now and it doesn't hurt. And we gave him exercises to do to work on ankle mobility and coordination and stability and calf flexibility, but also a lot of stuff that we partner with the Wellness Way next door and have some of our own stuff that we'll just kind of recommend to help avoid or help with blood sugar regulation. And so we started doing that with him as well. And man, it's nice to watch people. That's why I come to work every day. It's nice to help people get back to doing the things they love. We call that MOLO, motion you love. We want to help people find and do motion they love so they'll actually do it. And so that's kind of all there is for today. If you have any more questions or want me to answer anything specific to your cases, I'd love to talk with y'all. Hopefully you got to see something of how Softwave works, how it might be helpful for you. Definitely worth the first visit. We always want to work from least invasive to most invasive. So give us a call. Our number is 573-299-0499. We'd love to call and help.